following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Is the main event.
This is your main event, Mark's Podcast. I'm your first host, lifelong wrestling fan, former radio guy, cat dad, and the local talent mystery opponent. I am Troy. And with me, as always, is the main event collector and figure hunting warrior. He's the WCW watcher of classic wrestling and the Rodzilla to my Hollywood. Well, let me tell you something, brother. It's Greg. What's up, Greg?
You know, that figure hunting warrior thing, it's not working out for me because I've gone like 0 for 20 in the past times I've gone out. I'm kind of getting pissed about it.
Oh, figure hunt, yeah. Well,
how hard is it to put new stuff on the shelves, man?
You know what, man? I titled one of your last videos I put up there is distribution issues. I don't know, man. I haven't seen, my Walmart looks the same every time.
I swear to you, one of my Targets has the same two Britt Bakers that have been on the same part of the shelf for like 2 years. Not even joking. Nobody's ever even touched them. Like, they're just in the same position.
I don't doubt you whatsoever because I've seen the same thing in my Walmart. My local Target is kind of a drive and, so I don't really go there that often. But Walmart's like right up the street and hot damn, like they have nothing ever.
I don't know why. I thought figures were a lucrative sell, but
yeah, apparently not anymore. There for a while, it was like, I would say right before COVID, things were pretty good as far as like what you could find. And
I would say during COVID, it was great because I was getting a lot of stuff. Then I guess that goes to people not going out, but
yeah, that too. And it would depend on if you.
Before anybody talks crap, I had like 6 people in the house at that time, so we need stuff in the store. So don't come at me, bro.
We were allowed to go out here in Ohio. It was perfectly fine. Just like you had to wear a mask in the store and all that. So yeah, I'm wondering how it's going to be up in Detroit. But as of the posting of this, we will find out in about a week-ish, week and a half.
That's close.
Yep. There you go, man. We're wrapping up July today with Great American Bash 1990. Or no, I'm sorry. With wrong Bash. With Bash at the Beach 1998. Wrapping up the month of America's birthday. To all you outside of the country, whatever. I don't have it.
So I have the notes because I watched it, but for some reason I thought we were doing SummerSlam 94 today, which I watched prepping for this. But I watched Bash at the Beach 98 a while back, actually. But
oh, okay. Yeah, I still have to watch that.
That's what I meant in off the air when I told you it was not that bad of an event. I was talking about SummerSlam 94.
Okay. Now that one I still need to watch back. So that one I have no. But yeah, this was the one I said I nothing this event. But
I can definitely see that now. I was wondering what the hell you're talking about. I thought SummerSlam 94 was pretty, I'm not going to say great, but it was a good watch, I thought. But, okay, now I get it.
94 as a whole was kind of hit and miss.
Yeah.
But this one, I don't know. I went into it wondering, I went into it thinking, well, it's 1998, and it's got a big played-up main event. It's got to be good, right? Or at least, halfway decent.
And I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, but they blew their load on the previous Nitro.
Yeah, right.
Which is now in the archive, by the way.
Yeah, that's true. That is correct. But either way, yeah. So this
is the most. And I hate saying this because I like the guy, but this is the most lackluster world title match I've ever seen in the history of WCW. I know it's saying a lot.
Right. Dude,
I like both guys in this. But I'm like,
yeah,
this does not feel special at all. This felt like a Thunder match.
You ain't kidding. I have got some comments when we get to that one because I was not happy about this whatsoever. But I mean, I realize like whatever the hell,
you got to keep in mind this match was already made before all this happened on Nitro.
That's one of the other problems with it. But yeah, for those that don't know, the previous Nitro before the go home Nitro to one of your biggest pay-per-views of the year, you're gonna have a giant main event world title match and switch the belt. Cool.
TV.
Yep, and we'll get into all the ins and outs with that one. It's actually the top story.
Also, I do want to mention, you said one of the at this point it was the biggest pay-per-view of the year. At this point,
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. Well, the other one is Bischoff always claimed that Halloween Havoc was their tentpole.
No, I mean, up until this point in '98, this was their biggest pay-per-view so far.
All right, yeah, that one makes sense. So, but I guess to wrap up this America's birthday month, America! Yeah! I had to get it in at least once. We are gonna hit this show. I feel like maybe I should have switched the bashes around because this one is not ending on a high note. But rest assured,
well, who's involved in the finish? I mean, that's the highest note you can ever get.
Yeah, right.
I think I mentioned that a couple weeks ago. I'm like, oh yeah, the ending of this. He gets the moment. Okay.
Yeah. Well, let not your heart be troubled, because I think all of August, if not the vast majority of August, is going to be a banger. So, and we're going to have other content on.
And that's because SummerSlam is normally like a solid, this is going to be a great show. Normally. I'm not saying they've all done that, but.
Yeah, I think there were a handful of SummerSlams where I walked away. I was going, that was it. Like, good effort, WWE. But for the most part, yeah.
95?
Yeah, but for the most part, SummerSlam at least delivers something.
SummerSlam 95 had a very Horowitz match. I don't need to say anything more, do I?
Yeah, right. There was one thing from SummerSlam 95, and that was it. Now, I think
that was made late, by the way. It wasn't supposed to be that going into it.
Yeah, right. Clearly, we were talking about Mabel in the main event. I mean, that was the thing.
No, we're not, because that was supposed to be that. I was talking about Skip and Barry Horowitz, but.
Oh, God. Skip and Barry effing Horowitz, man. Hell yeah.
Legendary Jewish wrestler.
Goldberg.
That was probably the greatest thing AEW's ever done in their history, was that graphic.
Yep.
Legendary Jewish wrestler.
Love that. It's going to be MJF someday. But anyway, we're going to take a quick pause here to tell you about the sponsor of the podcast. Today's episode is sponsored by Mahler Bros Golf. We all want to look good on the golf course, but it often comes at the expense of feeling good. Mahler Bros Golf has polos that look good and feel good. With their lightweight and stretchy material that hugs your body, you'll feel cool while looking just as cool. These polos are guaranteed to make you look better, but it's up to you to golf better. On a hot summer day on the golf course, there's no polo that you would rather wear than Mahler Bros Golf signature polos. Mahler Bros Golf has a large catalog of polos with designs for those who want a loud design and others for those that want a subtle and sleek-looking design. They also have fun t-shirts, hats, tumblers, and so much more to make your golfing experience better. Use code BELLYUP at MahlerBros.com for 15% off. I gotta ask, let's be honest, alright? Are your polos getting outdated and dingy? I know for a fact that mine are. I've wore them way too long and way too much. It's time to get new ones that'll make you stand out on the golf course. Don't wait to try out your new favorite golf apparel. Upgrade your golf attire with Mahler Bros. Get 15% off at MahlerBros.com with code BELLYUP. That's 15% off at MAHLER Bros.com with code BELLYUP. Turn heads on the course or wherever you wear Mahler Bros polos. Mahler Bros Golf. Look good, feel good, play good. And now that we're done with that, we're going to get into our first break real quick. Because on the other end, you usually crack something. So I don't have anything. Well, I don't have anything to crack. I have, see if this comes across on audio. Nope, that was a weak.
Yeah, I got it. I heard it.
It was a bottle twist for that one. So, yeah. Either way, we're going to dive into our first break here. On the other end, it's news and notes time. Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. Get ready to rumble in your new Main Event Marks merchandise. We've got t-shirts, hoodies, masks, hats, stickers, pins, and much more on our Redbubble store. That's maineventmarks.redbubble.com. You can also pick up some awesome clothing items with the latest updated show graphics on our Bonfire store. That's bonfire.com/store/main event marks. Support your favorite retro wrestling podcast and pick up some cool swag on our Bonfire and Redbubble stores. That's maineventmarks.redbubble.com. shops.redbubble.com and bonfire.com/store/main-event-marks.
By God! Somebody's interrupting the main event marks! Sit down, JR. It's just me, Kyle Sullivan, aka Shaggy Von Doom, your host of Here in Puckburg on the Hockey Podcast Network. I know, a hockey show on the main event marks. Who would have thought? This is an invasion angle. Somewhere between the Nexus and when WCW tried to invade WWE, somewhere in there. But I'm over here just telling you that one half of your tag team champions over here, Greg, he told his story of his love for the game of hockey over on my show. And if you'd like to hear that story, all you have to do is search Here in Puckburg wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube. In the meantime, Shagamania's got to go run wild on some other hockey show. So, just remember, quote the Raven, nevermore, take your vitamins, say your prayers, and oh yeah!
Main event marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Find all of our links on our link tree at linktr.ee/main event marks. And we're back.
We're back.
Do you like your coffee like you like your podcasts? Gimmick and politics free? Well, so do we here at the Main Event Marks, and so do the guys and gals at Coffee Brand Coffee, where they ditch the gimmicks. You see, when you buy your coffee from other roasters, chances are that they've been sitting on the shelf for heaven knows how long. Don't rob yourself of freshness. At Coffee Brand Coffee, they roast to order, ensuring that you get the freshest coffee possible. And as Greg will tell you, that's what counts. Coffee Brand Coffee offers bagged coffee as well as K-Cups, and for the non-coffee people, they offer a variety of teas and cocos. Just click on the link down in the podcast description or go to coffeebrandcoffee.com and use our promo code MAINEVENT, all one word, at checkout to get 5% off your order. That's coffeebrandcoffee.com and use the promo code MAINEVENT to save 5% at checkout. News and notes, but, well, real quick, what are you cracking? There you go.
This is clean energy. Full disclosure, this thing is vegan, by the way. And I will go vegan on stuff like this because that usually means there's nothing in it that I shouldn't have because I'm iffy on energy drinks.
Right.
So if it's vegan on energy drink, everything should be healthy, right? You would think.
Yeah, right. Well, my local Dollar Tree started stocking more of a variety of energy drinks. So I have to check some of them. Yeah. You see they've got the Beyond stuff now. It's like $5. Yeah. It's pretty cool because some of the stuff, like, people can talk crap about Dollar Tree, whatever, but there are some things you can skimp on quality on. It's like, it's $5, whatever. Who cares?
My local one's been having like actual brand name stuff.
Yeah, mine too. They actually have like full packs of toilet paper now, like the big ones, not just like, 1 or 2 rolls in a pack. It's nice. I like it.
They have TGI Fridays chicken wings too. I'm like, wow.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Oh, I guess I forgot here. We got to hit the news intro.
That is correct.
Shut the fuck up, Dave.
Everything that guy just says is bullshit.
The hook always gets me at the end.
Oh yeah, gotta punctuate it with a Joe Pesci.
I tell you, I went back and watched that movie after you made that. It still holds up, man.
Yep. Yeah, everything. It's a great film, man. There's nothing. Obviously, some stuff in it are a little outdated because it was made, at a different time. But for the most part, still great ass movie, man. And you talked about the all-star lineup in that damn thing. Well, we just kind of talked about this already, but less than 10 months after making his professional wrestling debut, Bill Goldberg won the WCW title from Hulk Hogan in front of the largest crowd in WCW history and the 4th largest crowd for pro wrestling ever in the United States. It's been debated whether putting the title on Goldberg was a premature, panicked reaction to Raw kicking their ass in the ratings last week, and that will probably be debated until the end of time. But what can't be denied is that the win garnered one of the biggest crowd pops in the history of the business. The original plan was for it to be a dark match, but that changed last week, and Hogan reportedly had no problem putting Goldberg over clean. But in return, he was promised to be the person to end Goldberg's streak when that time is right. But that probably won't happen for a while. Yep. About that. I mean,
he's like literally a day late, $1 short on that.
Yeah, right. Like, I mean, it was a member of the NWO, just not Hogan. But what's funny is the person who does end the streak and takes the title drops it to Hogan willingly
in one of the most infamous nights in wrestling history.
I can't remember. Did we? I think we covered that one, if I remember correctly.
I don't know, but if we didn't, I think in January we should throw both on one show. They were both going to be nice.
We did not cover that show. Wow. Okay, I was wrong. Either way, WCW is expected to win the ratings battle this week, but at what cost? Hogan versus Goldberg was a potential $7 million.
I think the cost, it paid off, I think.
Ish. But, I mean, it depends on what you're going for and your payoff, I guess. But Hogan versus Goldberg was a potential $7 million grossing match on pay-per-view that they gave away for free on TV. They also had potential big money matches with Hogan defending the title against Kevin Nash and Bret Hart, and now those storylines are thrown out the window. If WCW doesn't win the ratings war this week, it would be a huge blow since they just gave away their biggest money match for free. They had over 41,000 fans in the building for a gate of $906,000 plus and did massive merch numbers. All of these broke every WCW record in history, but all of that money is still only a small fraction of what they could have made if the match was on pay-per-view.
Could you imagine, like, if ESPN had given away Mayweather versus McGregor?
Yeah, right. Freaking stupid. For reference of this, by the way, Starrcade with Hogan versus Sting did a $7 million gate, and with the right buildup, Hogan and Goldberg would likely have done more.
I love Sting, but man, I think this would have blown that away.
Right. I mean, it was a big buildup or whatever, but if you think about it, like the Goldberg Hogan thing was a little different because, correct me if I'm wrong, there wasn't really much of a feud, right? It was just like Goldberg's kind of coming up on his own.
Yeah, he's the United States champion. Yeah, he's
yeah.
I don't think he has a feud at the time, and like we said, Hogan's in the middle of this big tag team thing,
right?
Which
I don't know.
Obviously, it wasn't bad. I mean, I guess it got them publicity.
Well, let me ask you this, because this is another thing I was thinking about. You're gonna beat Hogan on the Go Home show and have him drop the belt when he's going into this big tag match that you've been building up. Doesn't that kind of crap on his momentum going into the show?
I mean, I see your point, but I mean, come on, let's be honest. This is more about Rodman and Malone. You know that. So I mean, but you're not wrong. But
yeah, I get that. And then
I respectfully disagree on that for that reason.
Yeah, it was a thought, because it's like
it's a fair thought. But...
And I guess they didn't technically squash Hogan, but they did have Goldberg take 3 of his finishers in a row and then pop up like nothing. And I realize the argument is, well, it's Goldberg, but still, I mean, come on, man. How many people throughout the years have taken one of those leg drops and they were dead?
Andre the Giant.
Right. Goldberg took 3 in a row and then pops up like, let's go. Like, what the?
I think back to WrestleMania 18 when Rock kicked out of it and how much Jim Ross put it over. He beat Andre the Giant with that move.
Yeah, right. And then The Rock would go on to feud with Goldberg a little bit after that. So, but yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was a weird choice. Oh, it's a go home show before this big show. Hogan's in the main event. Let's beat him.
Didn't Bischoff rationalize it by saying they were a TV company first?
Yeah, and
I mean, if that is in fact true, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there, but I wasn't even there. That is true, though. I guess I get the point.
I get his point. I just think it's wrong. I don't know. And he's right. They are owned by a TV company. But it just, I don't know. Like, was it that big of a deal?
You also got to remember, too, this pay-per-view was already sold on the basketball players. The next one was Road Wild, which is a joke, but it sells itself, right?
Yeah, it's
so
kind
like,
of a
where were they
giveaway.
going to put this? Where were they going to put this match? Like on Halloween Havoc, I assume. Do you remember what we got at Halloween Havoc '98? Do you remember, by any chance? I guess that would have been the perfect spot.
I'm trying to think. Who was it?
I'll give you a hint. It was Goldberg's greatest match and Hogan's worst match.
Oh,
same
yeah. Okay, so it was a Goldberg and DDP, right?
Yeah.
And then Hogan and Warrior. God.
So I think that might have been the perfect spot to have this, but
right. And then I don't know what the hell you would have done with Warrior. Maybe send him home. Look, I realize the guy's passed away, but seriously, come on.
and I hate like revisiting like this, but man, Warrior's not at that show. That trapdoor is not there. Bulldog doesn't get damn near crippled.
Yep, I saw the clip the other day.
A lot of stuff changes.
Yep, I never saw that until the other day. It looked just like a normal back body drop, but he does hit kind of hard.
Yeah, but he also keeps going. You can't even tell nothing happened. That's the crazy part.
I'm thinking it was adrenaline pumping at that point where he's just like, ow, that hurt, but he just keeps going. And then the next day it's like, well, I'm effed up.
Like Shawn Michaels?
Yeah. Well, like Kevin Nash was talking about his, he didn't know he tore his tricep, I think, until like he woke up the next morning and he's got like black and blue from his pec all the way down his arm. He's like, oh, okay. He's like, something ain't right.
I think Ricky Steamboat's injury was just as like little in hindsight.
Right. Dude,
WCW falling his ass.
Right. Well, oh, that's right. They didn't have a trapdoor there. But WCW had this trapdoor and they injured like at least 3 people. I think.
You think after one, they were like, maybe we ought to do something about this.
Well, was this all on the same show they got hurt, or was it multiple shows?
No, it was different people altogether.
Well, I knew it was 3 people, but I thought maybe they all got hurt on the same show. That makes it worse. Like,
one was a jobber on Nitro, I know that.
Well, one of them was Perry Saturn.
I feel like one of them was like one of the Villanos, wasn't it?
Maybe. I thought Conan got hurt on it. Well, I could be wrong on that.
Conan gets hurt on everything.
Conan gets hurt on air. But Saturn, I know for a fact, was one of them because we had a story about him a while back that he was on like painkillers and stuff. So
it hurt him so bad he started wearing a dress.
God,
I wish I was joking about the dress. No, there's anything wrong with that. But what the hell? Why?
He had a feud with Raven where the loser had to wear a dress, and he won. He lost, so he had to wear the dress. And then years later, Raven made that his whole gimmick that he wore a dress.
This has been done in wrestling a couple times. This is Brian Pillman's last thing he did in wrestling.
Right.
I mean, I shouldn't laugh. Now. It's not funny, but...
Dude, can you imagine them trying to do that now?
Yep.
God. Harry Styles would be like, I've been doing that for years.
Wow.
Oh, man. Anyway, speaking of men in dresses, Dennis Rodman was scheduled to appear at the Georgia Dome to further the angle with Karl Malone, but he no-showed.
No!
Yeah, I know. Rodman no-showing, that goes together like lamb and tuna fish.
Lamb and tuna fish?
Maybe you prefer spaghetti and the meatball?
Yeah, considering we're in America, if you don't like that, get the hell out.
Bringing it back. We haven't done that one in a few weeks, so figured I'd hit it. Yeah, I saw my opening. Anyway, WCW tried all day to get a hold of him, but Rodman wasn't returning calls.
You know what I'm laughing at? If anybody's seen the, I mean, it's public knowledge, but it was on the Last Dance documentary, Michael Jordan one.
Yeah.
He flew out to wherever the hell they were one night in the middle of practice when they were in the middle of the finals. So he'll miss practice in the middle of the finals and show up, but not when he's free to show up.
And going into a huge money marquee match.
One might argue the biggest one in their history at that point.
Right, yeah. Definitely involving celebs. That's good God, man. But, and keep in mind, by the way, this was like they were calling his home phone because cell phones were not, I mean, they were around, but not a lot of people had them.
Not readily available.
Right. I mean, Rodman might have had one now that I think of it, but it was like probably a big ass brick, and it's not one that you carry around in your pocket. But the night before, Rodman was at a Pearl Jam concert in Dallas. Sure. Guzzling wine from the bottle and getting on stage with the band, leading to Eddie Vedder to call him out for being drunk. When you're getting called out by Eddie Vedder, man, you done fucked up.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry, something doesn't compute here. I mean, the drunk part, I get. Dennis Rodman at a Pearl Jam concert? Sure, we'll go with it. But this obviously doesn't bode well for the Bash the Beach.
I mean, they're all pretty badass. I mean, you like music, why wouldn't you?
Oh, it depends on who you ask there, man.
I mean, badass is the word for them, but I do like some of their music.
Yeah, I
don't want to be too liberal with badass, but okay.
I mean, I'll put it this way. Pearl Jam's not one of them bands where I got their music in my playlist, but when they come on the radio, I'll turn it up. Like, does that make sense?
It does. I think I have 2 of them on my Spotify gym list.
Yeah.
I know one's Even Flow because that's an all-time classic. I forget what the other one is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like them. I don't have anything wrong with them, but it just doesn't seem like, I don't know, you like look at the totality of Dennis Rodman as a person. I wouldn't assume he likes Pearl Jam, but I mean, you do you, man. But this obviously doesn't bode well for the Bash of the Beach pay-per-view, since Rodman clearly isn't taking his commitment seriously.
Per Hogan's book, apparently he did this the year before, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Was he at Bash of the Beach 97?
Yeah, he was in the main event there, too.
I remember
it was
that.
him and Hogan against Luger and Giant, I believe.
Giant.
Luger and Giant won.
Oh, wow. Did we do that one? I'm thinking maybe we did.
I don't know.
We did do that one. Now in the
okay,
archives.
Because like it's like fresh in my memory, so I must have watched it.
Yeah, we've done 96, 97, 98. And well, obviously we're on 98 now, so. Okie doke. I don't remember that. Maybe I blocked it from my memory. Was that the one where you...
Another episode where I'm going to talk about repressed memories?
Right. Well, I've seen way too many Dennis Rodman matches for, like, my own mental well-being. All right, so
I'm going to say someone I'm not trolling. He's no Bad Bunny or Logan Paul, but
right,
it was okay.
Yeah, he's fine. He's not the worst I've seen. That's for damn sure. Road Wild 1999. We did that one now in the archives. He was on that show taking on the Macho Man.
Oh yeah, I forgot he wrestled Macho. That's right.
Yeah, I think that was Macho Man's last match in WCW ever.
What a legacy, huh?
Yeah, right. Hey, man, if you're going to go out, you go out on top. Anyway, there was also a spot during the show where, talking about Nitro, I forgot to mention, there was a spot on the show where,
pal.
God dang it, pal, where DDP took out Ed Leslie, whatever his gimmick is this week.
Oh, no.
This was Uncle Dave's writing, whatever the hell Ed Leslie's gimmick is this week.
All right, we got to give him that one, dude.
He's not wrong.
No, he's not. I'm not going to say he's not wrong. I'm going to say he's spot on the nose, but whatever.
Yeah, right. Or as I like to see when as I like to say when I see Ed Leslie.
Who are all these fucking people?
I was wondering how you were going to get it in, Katie.
Got it in. I saw again. I saw the opening. Anyway, he took him out with a stiff chair shot that legit busted open Leslie and required stitches. Oh, not that face.
Not sure Hogan paid for it.
Yeah, I bet good money on that one. But it led to the two men having words.
Good money on that one.
It led to the two men having words backstage, but didn't amount to anything.
So I think you said it was DDP, right?
Yeah.
You don't hear any story about DDP legit hurting people.
Yeah, right. It's like, come on, dude. It was an errant chair shot. Crap happens. Like, it sucks. Move on.
Well, they need to stop protecting their head, not hitting people in the head with chairs. Really?
Yeah. Hey, this was Bischoff's boy versus Hogan's boy. Who was going to win?
And I don't think Hogan hated DDP, but I'm pretty sure that Bischoff hates Leslie, so.
Yep. He said he was. I think he said on multiple occasions, literally the only reason he didn't release him was because of Hogan. He said he felt he served zero value, which it's hard to argue. Like,
as a kid, I'll admit I loved Brutus Beefcake, but I can see the point now in hindsight.
Well, I'm also not referencing when he was Brutus Beefcake. I'm referencing anything he did in WCW.
No, I mean what I'm referencing is like I can see how people they look at him like, why are you here? Because you're someone's friend.
Right.
I totally understand that.
Dude, him in that WrestleMania tag match against Money Inc. It's just like, God. Like, yeah, that was one of them where I'm like, why are you here? Other than the fact that, yeah, you're somebody's friend.
On a technicality, he's headlined WrestleMania and Starrcade. So I just want to point that out.
Yeah, right. And not by his own merits. Nobody was like,
Hogan, Flair.
Right, yeah, nobody was like,
quite a few people. Nash.
One of these things is not like here. Right. And not one single person went, who's going to draw money here? I got it. Ed Leslie.
What's his Christian name, by the way?
Brutus the fucking Barber Beefcake. If you look at his driver's license, middle name, it's TF.
Yeah.
That's his full name. Anyway, Eric Bischoff.
That's going to go out in history as the greatest thing Conrad Thompson's ever done.
It's right up there. That one, him bashing on Stevie Ray, the fact that he hates Prince. Like anytime somebody mentions Prince Iakea, he loses his mind.
Now, that one I don't get because he was not bad at all. But I guess he was a star. But what the hell did he do to anybody?
I don't think that he sucked. I just think
he didn't.
He's another one of those where I nothinged him. I'm like, why are you here?
Another why are you here?
Yeah, right. It's like he didn't draw a dime.
Those guys never drew a dime.
That's the dark side of the ring, by the way.
Mike Graham.
As of this point, the Graham family.
The Graham, yeah. Dude, oh, God.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough watch. But
I'm going to watch it, but...
The Magnum TA one made me cry, man. Damn, this guy would have been huge, man.
Yep, that one sucked. I'll say this about the Graham family. Think about this. There was Mike Graham, and his dad was Eddie Graham. I don't know his father's name, but Mike's grandfather committed suicide. Eddie committed suicide, and then Mike committed suicide. Like, good Lord.
I mean, the one to the same issue. I mean, what the hell is that? Like, it's like a bad gene or something? What?
There's something that runs in families sometimes, man. I don't know, and it effing sucks. Think about being like the lone survivor in that family too. Like, I think about like if I was Kevin Von Erich. It's like, what the, like, dude, like everybody you know around you. When I
hear him in like interviews say, "They sad they're gone, but at least he got to know them." God, that's gotta hurt to say, man. That's a hell of an attitude to have. I don't think I could have that.
Yeah, there's something to be said for, keeping your head up. And I mean, I respect him for it, but it just like
clear as day, man. He does.
Yep. Frickin' sucks for him, though. Getting into something a little less depressing. Eric Bischoff is already pressuring some of the guys whose contracts expire in late 1999 to sign extensions. It's been
that's going to hate that.
Yeah, right. It's been strongly hinted that if they don't sign the extensions, he will stop pushing them and basically job them out for the next year, which would obviously hurt their drawing power a year later if they wanted to go to WWF.
Now, I can't sit here off the top of my head and tell you what the four Radicals were doing at the end. I know Benoit was a world champion, obviously, but I don't know if the other three got de-pushed or whatever. But
well, I was going to say, I mean, they were part of the Revolution. I guess they were kind of somewhat getting a push, if that's what you want to call it.
Eddie was in Filthy Animals, I believe.
Oh, yeah. That. I mean...
Hey, screw you. I like that group.
They were fine. That was another one where it's like, I didn't hate them. I didn't love them. They were fine. But I thought they were entertaining. It was something different. The fact that they added disco makes me laugh, but...
No, they didn't. He had himself.
Or, well, yeah. Whatever you want to say about it. Right. But I just now, I wrote all this down, obviously, but I just now thought about this. We're in mid-98. He's talking to people whose contracts don't expire until the next December or the end of that year, whatever. Wanting them to sign an extension over a year before their contract expires. Like, well, damn,
you gotta admire that.
Locked down. Tong tong. Like, damn. That
tells me that he knew their worth.
Well, that's the other thing. It's like, how do you know these guys are going to be worth a damn, come time for that contract to roll over? Like, it's, hedging your bets, man.
Respect to Saturn, because I think he was the fourth of them. But the other three, I mean, they're amazing wrestlers. How do you not see their worth?
Jericho was another one of those guys. Because he talked about...
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Jericho talked about there was a time when they kept bugging him, and he said he knew where to go in the building to hide, and people wouldn't find you.
Wow.
And he said he knew this because it was a common practice in WCW that if you didn't want your, like if somebody went and politicked to get the finish of your match changed so you'd do the job, they basically, if they couldn't find you, they couldn't tell you. So you would just go hide so that they couldn't tell you your job in the night. Therefore,
that is pathetic.
Right. And he he said they let that happen. He was like, why the hell wouldn't I do that? He's like, if they're letting it go on, whatever. And he's like, and they did that stuff all the time. So there were apparently a lot of people did that stuff. So he went and hid.
You said late 99, right? So I guess this does not include the Giant.
Yeah, no,
that's maybe in early 99. So
that was when Eric Bischoff claims he didn't give a damn that he left. Which, I mean, yeah.
You can see both sides of the coin on that.
Well, yeah. Well, like he said, he's like, okay, because Conrad was trying to, well, why wouldn't you care about that? And he was like, okay, let me ask you this. What the hell did he do when he left? Like, is he a huge star now? Did he make them a ton of money? He's like, I didn't give a crap.
Well, he came in at the wrong time if you want to be a major star. Rock, Austin.
Yeah, right.
DX, The Undertaker.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Jericho said finally they called him in and Bischoff talked about this, but he said he doesn't remember the meeting exactly, but he remembers like kind of. But Jericho writes about it in his book where he was dragged into Bischoff's office finally, and Bischoff slapped the contract in front of him and was like, sign it. And Jericho's like, I don't really want to sign it. And he was like, I don't know if you remember, that was the famous line where Bischoff was like, I don't remember saying that, but it does sound like me, so I'm not denying it. Or he was like, all right.
I've actually reminded you of a few things you've said in the past with the exact same quote from you.
Yeah. Well, he said, Bischoff was like, all right, well, you don't sign the contract, no ticky, no laundry. He's like, you gotta lose that title to, he was like the TV champ at the time, I think. It's like, you're losing the TV title to Conan. And
I don't see how that's a bad thing. It's not like it's don't crap on me, people, but like with Disco and Jacqueline, I mean, how was Conan a bad choice?
Right. Well, that's like Jericho was like, I mean, whatever. He's like, fine. But then the thing, and Bischoff was like, all right, did he lose the title? And he's like, well, he didn't lose it there. Like, he was like, okay. So he's like, I don't know if I said that or not. And then Conrad's running down like the next few shows, and he's like, and then we get to such and such date, and he loses the TV title to Conan, and Bischoff was like, I told him no ticky, no laundry. I damn. Like,
wow.
Like, I freaking love that.
What the hell that means?
It's like when you go into the Chinese, like the Chinese owned was the dry cleaner. That's why I couldn't think of the words. When you go into the Chinese owned dry cleaners, and if you don't have your ticket with you, they won't give you your clothes. So it was in reference to that. Yeah. By the way, you talked about the lines. I don't remember. A mutual friend of ours said he was listening to one of our shows the other day, and he was like, your Midwestern sayings make me laugh. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm not denying it, but I'm like,
the pop. It's got to be the pop thing.
I was like,
I had a friend who listened to it, and he told me, he goes, why does that guy call soda pop? I'm like, that's a thing out there.
Wow.
Oh. He also questioned if you were really from there because he caught you saying hella.
That's because I've been talking to you for over a decade. You got me saying that. No, the ones he was specifically referencing was roughing up, and because I said that Bart Gunn and Bob Holly were like teaming up unbuttered toast in a glass of milk.
I remember you saying that. And I was still like, I've had unbuttered toast. I don't think it's that bad, but.
No, I mean, neither is milk. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's the most bland meal you could get. Like when you're recovering from a stomach ache.
Maybe you heard it wrong like I did, because I was trying to figure out what the hell that meant too. I'm like, I try not to eat much butter, honestly.
Well, that's when you're recovering from a stomach ache and you're like, I need to try to keep something down. Toast and a glass of milk is pretty safe. So there you go. Like a pretty bland meal right there. So that's kind of what I was getting at with that. But I told him, I said, I don't know if those sayings are so much Midwestern as much as middle-aged white dad, but whatever.
Middle-aged white dad. What the hell?
I mean, I get it. I get a lot of my sayings from middle-aged white dad, but either way. The recent merger of AT&T and TCI. You know what the hell TCI is?
TCI is now known as Xfinity and Comcast. Well, it was Comcast, which is now Xfinity. Okay. Man, I forgot all about that. The house I'm in right now, I moved in the year 2002. That was our first cable, was TCI. Wow. Yeah. That's crazy. Forgot about that.
I remember all the changes through the years.
But I think that TCI was Pac Bell at one point. Do you remember that?
I don't think so. We never really had that out here.
Wait. It's called Pacific Bell. It's probably only out here in the Pacific.
Oh, we had Cincinnati Bell.
That's probably what. Yeah. Okay.
Cincinnati Bell was they changed the name of it since then. I can't remember what the hell they call it now, but I had that down in Cincinnati for a little while. They suck, by the way, for anybody out there in the Cincinnati area. Just going to say it now. But
you guys have any cable providers that are good out there?
I'll tell you what, man. I after the first few, I'd say, I don't know, 3-4 months of effing around with them when I moved into this house, I've had little to no problems with Spectrum. They've been pretty good in my area.
Spectrovision.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember when Spectrum was Time Warner Cable and the internet was called Roadrunner.
I remember that because of a friend our mutual friend we talked to had Roadrunner and swore by it.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, when it was Roadrunner, it was pretty good. But then again, you didn't have a lot of options to choose from. I also had Verizon, DSL.
Yeah, we don't have many optic cables here. I recently found out because I went into a local Walmart and they said, "Hey, do you have Spectrum?" I said, "No, I'm happy with what I got." And he started talking about their packages, and I was like, "All right, I'll entertain him. Like, let me just hear your prices." He's like, "Can I get your street address?" And I gave him it. And he goes, "Oh, we don't have the optic cables in your area, so you couldn't have Spectrum there." Right? Okay.
Wow. Either way, but the recent merger of AT&T and TCI will likely have major ramifications on the wrestling industry.
Well, maybe some bigger ones too, but.
I was going to say there's an upcoming merger after this. It's going to be even bigger, but yeah. Within the cable industry, it's believed that due to the merger, within a few years, nearly every home in the U.S. will have pay-per-view capabilities. Well, there you go. Currently, around 35 million homes do currently have access to pay-per-view, but it's thought that in a few years it will be around 100 million. In theory, that should triple the revenue bought in by WWF, WCW, ECW, and other things like UFC and boxing, and would be hugely profitable for everyone involved. A lot of this is theoretical, of course. Yeah, I mean,
ECW being profitable. That's the quote of the day.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, pay-per-view was a big thing. I mean, you and I talked about that's how TNA started. They had a weekly pay-per-view.
Only on pay-per-view, yeah.
Yep. And it was
can't ever get over that. Who launches only on pay-per-view?
Right. Wasn't it like $10 for a show though? So you were
I think so, yeah. They were charging like $50 a show, yeah. So basically $30 a month.
Right. So you could get 4 TNA shows a month for $40, or like the WWE would put on one pay-per-view a month, and it would be about 30, depending on the show. Sometimes, like if you're talking WrestleMania or SummerSlam, those were about 50.
Premium item.
Right. I still miss the days of Buffalo Wild Wings showing WWE pay-per-views because it wasn't as good, obviously, as being there in person, but it was like the next best thing for me because the whole bar was there to watch it and everybody got into it. They'd crank the sound up. It was like being at a live show almost, like the atmosphere. But you also got to eat Buffalo Wild Wings and drink beer. So there you go.
And probably not stadium beer prices, I assume.
Hell no. That was I didn't know this because I don't drink I really don't drink when I go to live shows, but one guy I listened to on YouTube was like, yeah, I really only he brought up Pabst Blue Ribbon. He was like, I really only drink that when I go to like concerts and stuff because it's like the cheapest beer you can get at the concert.
I am so shocked.
Right. Well, if you want a normal, like a can, like a regular, like, I mean, they don't come in cans at live shows, but it's the amount that would be in a can, in a cup. If you get that of any other beer, it's over $5. If you get it of PBR, it's about $3. Yeah, PBR, if you can stand it, it's like a higher end, low grade beer. This guy is also from Wisconsin. He was like, the only time I buy PBR is like is either at a concert or I buy it if I'm gonna like roast a chicken with it or something, or if I'm making beer brats, I buy it for that.
Or if you want to pull a prank on old dad.
Yeah, this isn't Coors Light. What the hell?
I drink Bud Light because they pay more.
God. Well, getting into the WWF side of things here. God, this story.
Oh man.
WWF. Well, we already talked about Dark Side of the Ring, so here you go. WWF's experimental Brawl for All shoot fights have become a major topic of conversation in the business lately. Yeah. The tournament, bro, appears to be a way to get Steve Williams over as a legit tough guy so that he can challenge Steve Austin later this year. Well, yeah. Look, the best laid plans, all right? So, yeah, I must say... But the plan is
I still stand by Bart Gunn got screwed, man. That's messed up.
Oh, 100%. But then again, he's not the only one. I feel like every single person damn near in this tournament got screwed. And
physically, emotionally, yep.
Well, didn't you hear, or you'll have to remind me here because you probably remember better than I do. Did Russo admit that this whole thing was set up to shut Bradshaw up, quote unquote?
Yep.
God. What a moron.
And then he gets to the damn finals, by the way, and almost won the whole thing. That would have been hilarious.
Did he? I thought he got knocked out in like the second or third round.
I know. He lost to Bart Gunn in the finals, I believe.
Wow. Okay, then. Yeah, so he's still a tough-ass Texan, man. But anyway, the plan is for it to continue on every Raw until SummerSlam. I believe it did. But crowd reactions have been mixed, and if ratings don't do well, it may very well get cut short. Well, that didn't happen. Yeah, well, you know why you and I talked about why crowd reactions sucked. Because he literally said, hey, let's take a break from our scripted bullshit to show you this.
Jim Cornette explained that when Jim Ross had the unenviable task of telling people why these guys are great wrestlers, but they're like a couple drunks in a bar fight.
Right. Yeah, nobody knew how to fight. Nobody except for, I can't say nobody. Mark Merrow was like the only trained fighter in this whole damn thing.
Severn was in it, but he dropped out.
Yeah, I wonder why. Dude, can you imagine if he did happen to get his ass knocked out? How embarrassing. Like, he could have never lived that down.
Nope.
But, and then if he did win, were they going to feed his ass to Butterbean? Yikes,
that might have been good on its own pay-per-view, not WrestleMania.
But... Yeah, right. But I don't know, man. And you and I talked about as kids. I mean, you were a teen at this point?
14, yep.
Yeah, so I was a bit younger than that, but like neither one of us knew if this was real or not, because like people like Hawk came out in full LOD face paint and his tights.
The one that got me the most is the Godfather still came out with the hose. That's what he called it, by the way.
Wow.
When he cancels me.
The women of ill repute. Yes.
Yes.
His
that
escorts.
They purposely called hose on TV, by the way, and even in one of the videos.
Ha! They're hose. God dang it, pal.
Yeah, the moment I saw that, that kind of threw me for a loop. Okay.
Yeah, right. It's like, is this real? Is it bull crap? Like, what is it, man? That's why I said they're like, hey, they didn't go full in with it, and then you're going to take a break from your scripted bull crap program to say, look at this. This is real. Trust us. Trust us, bro.
Thus proving to us that the scripted stuff is actually better.
Yeah, right.
Just going to point that out.
Yep. Savio Vega and Steve Blackman are the only two guys who have been haven't been completely gassed. Excuse me. After only 3 minutes of fighting.
Well, Blackman was legit badass.
Yeah, right.
He probably had cardio for days.
Right. He was a trained fighter, kind of. I mean, he was a martial artist. I don't know if fighter, whatever.
And Shamrock's on record saying that's the only guy in WWE he legitimately could probably take him to fight.
You're right. Someone like Mark Merrow with a legit Golden Gloves background was outclassed and beaten in the first round. Yeah, because there's no rules, man. I mean, there are, but like not strict boxing.
Go back
rules.
and watch. You hear Jim Ross saying, "I think that's a takedown, right?" Maybe. Like no one knew the damn rules.
And straight boxers, by the way, notoriously don't do well in like an MMA style setting. Like you gotta have more than that.
Not when you just take them down and beat the crap out of them on the floor and they can't do anything. They're only trained to throw hands.
Right. And I'm not saying boxers don't do well in UFC, period. I'm just saying notoriously if all they have is boxing, then they're kind of
we saw that James Toney fight against Randy Couture. Couture outclassed him. James Toney's not a pushover, mind you, but
well, it was trying to think, what was it, Rousey that took on somebody who was known for their boxing? Can't remember now. It was some
kickboxer, yeah.
Well, yeah, kickboxing is a little different. People say that's a BS thing too, but it's like, really? I don't think so.
I mean, I can't have the guts to stand into a kickboxer, I'll tell you that.
Right. It's like, I guess because people who like watch a lot of that, they're like, oh, boxers suck in UFC, kickboxers suck in UFC, and people who know straight karate suck. Like,
Lyoto Machida was a piece of crap. You're right.
Well, he knew more than just karate, right? Like, didn't he?
Right, but he was like the karate guy.
Yeah, right. Well, that's her thing. They're like, if you know just karate, like, you're gonna fail. But if you have to kind of diversify.
Well, it's in the title of the sport, mixed.
Right.
It's literally right there for you.
Yeah, I feel like that's any style, because we talked about the Gracies only knew jiu-jitsu, or was it jiu-jitsu that?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay, and they sucked. Like when the
rules, when it got regulated and had to fight people in the weight class.
Right, and they had to.
I wouldn't say they sucked, but I would say it showed their weaknesses.
Right. You have to diversify your portfolio there in your fighting style. That's why when somebody's taken on a boxer, they frequently go through a lot of boxing training and learn how to defend. So, but either way,
the biggest example is when Hoist Gracie fought Matt Hughes. Matt Hughes outclassed him, dude.
Yeah, right. Well, who the hell did Merrill lose to, by the way? Do you remember?
No, not top of my head.
Steve Blackman. Oh, he lost to Steve Blackman.
Oh, no shame in that either.
Yeah, there you go. Ow. Well, the thing is, like, it was just boxing and takedowns, though. You figured he could defend against that, but guess not. Also,
I guess in hindsight, Dr. Death was probably the favorite because of he's a tough guy, he can wrestle.
And he's big, like just a big, solid dude. But
big, solid dudes usually have no gas.
Right. Brock has finally made his WWF debut and was destroyed, which does his career no favors. Yeah, I'd say.
I love what Jim Ross on that show said. Brock has had as much business in the Brawl for All as I do.
Yeah, why was he here? Oh, he's big.
Because he looked like a Greek god, chiseled out of stone. I don't know.
I've said this before. Like, there's that old saying. It's like, well, you're built for show. I'm built for go. He was built for show, because I saw him do a press slam, and God, he barely got that dude up. He looked like he was struggling, and the dude was like half his size. Like, what the hell, man?
Didn't he end up in ECW?
He did, yeah. I think I can't remember. I think he might have been the one that they said he was afraid to take a bump, and he had to bring in like a crash mat just to do bumps in training. And they're like, yeah, this ain't gonna work, man. But it was one of them that Vince was like, by God, look at him. Apparently his wife was a favorite around the office because they said she was gorgeous and she worked out with him. And when she came through the office, they're like, oh, she was really friendly, and everybody, and she was good looking, so everybody liked when she came through.
Yeah, well, when you look like Brock is, you better have a good looking wife.
Yeah, right. But nobody was forced to enter, and supposedly each man is getting paid an extra $5,000 for winning the winning, and $2,500 extra for the losers, plus a $75,000 bonus to the tournament winner. In the end, Uncle Dave thinks that the only person who actually has something to lose is Steve Williams, because the whole thing is predicated on the idea that he will win and become a top star and challenger for Steve Austin. So if Williams was to get exposed and beaten, it will kill him dead, because this only because his only marketable trait is that he can be promoted as a legit tough guy.
That's true.
You know who won the pony?
They've got.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Again, when you know who won the pony on that one, man.
I mean, it's something Russo said about it too that no one ever takes into account. It's not like they were getting Dr. Death in his prime. I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying they act like they killed like the youngest upcoming star in the business.
Right.
Well,
I still feel like they could have got a match out of it. I don't know how many people would have given a damn, because it was Dr. Death in '98. But
look, I'm going to be real with you. I didn't give a damn about him either. Even if he did win this, I probably wouldn't have cared about him.
Right.
Sorry, he just never did it for me.
And for young kids like me at the time, I was 8 when this was, or 7 and 8 when this is going on. I don't freaking know Dr. Death. I have no frame of reference for Dr. Death. I don't know who he is. Why should I care about this old gruff-looking dude? Like, I don't know.
He was coming in from the Ric Flair side of things, but he's not Ric Flair. That's the problem.
Right. WWF will be having a house show next month called Foot Brawl, and it's being held at Foxborough Stadium, and will be co-promoted by the New England Patriots.
I don't think that ever happens. Does it? Do you know? Does it say it on there?
Well, I'll get to that here at the end here. But by the way, this was not the Super Bowl champion New England Patriots. Just put that out there.
Brady's still in Michigan at this point. Go Blue.
Eat ass. But they kicked off the local promotion for the event by having Vince McMahon versus Steve Austin in an arm wrestling match in front of a crowd of around 3,000 people, leading to Austin throwing Vince into a river. It's kind of funny. He also threw Doc Hendricks in after him for good measure. But despite that's hilarious. But despite all the promotion, ticket sales are slow so far. This all ends up being canceled.
There it is. Yeah, I was like, I feel like I would remember that.
Yeah. So I
you said Fox
say
that's right. It's not even Gillette yet. That's the old one. It's about to be torn down.
Yep. I want to say Drew Bledsoe is still their QB at this time.
I'm almost certain. Yeah.
Yeah. So, because I think he was the only one that they had for a little while before Brady came along. So, I don't know. Either way, speaking of Steve Austin,
how did Colin not use that foot brawl?
Yeah. Right.
Maybe he couldn't.
Well, now AEW has football field fuckery, so there's that.
What's that actually called again? I forget. It's not Anarchy in the Arena.
Stadium Stampede.
Stadium Stampede, yeah.
Yep. What the hell did they call it in the arena? It was like Anarchy in the Arena.
Anarchy in the Arena. Right? Assholes in the Arena.
Good God. Good God. Like, why? Like,
because why not?
Didn't that get like 4 stars or something from Uncle Dave?
It got 5 from what you sent me.
Oh. Was it 5? God.
Yeah.
I have not watched it back. I have zero opinion.
It's embarrassing, dude.
Not according to Uncle Dave and the AEW people.
I'll say this with the it's called again, Stadium Stampede. At least with that, the way they film it, it's a little more presentable. This is just embarrassing.
A little more presentable. I like that.
It is.
That's the way they covering for crap.
There's just certain angles and I get the criticism too. It's like, why? Like, if this ends, does the referee have a walkie-talkie and tells the other one it's over? You can stop now. It's over. If it ends in one room, there's like 5 rooms of stuff going on. But I don't know the way it is a lot better watched than the Anarchy in the Arena. I will say that.
That last one, actually, I can't even say that last one. All of them have been so effing weird. There was Matt Hardy getting drowned and where he kept popping up with different gimmicks.
Oh yeah, came out of the ice machine, dressed differently.
Yeah, there was the one where Road Warrior Buck there kept doing the Northern Lights suplex over and over all the way down the field.
I thought that was a testament to his great cardio, to be honest with you.
I mean, it was entertaining to watch, but I'm like, what the hell?
Yep. Now, watching Sammy get chased by a golf cart never gets old, by the way. That was fun.
That was hilarious. I like the one. Who was it that Hangman was? Was it Sammy again that Hangman chased down with a horse?
The horse. I think so, because that became a meme. Like everyone's lining up to chase Sammy or hit Sammy with something.
Yeah, right. Oh man. Anyway, Steve Austin's staph infection in his elbow seemed to be getting better, but then started worsening again. So he's on a bunch of meds to fight that off and isn't wrestling on any upcoming shows, although he's still appearing. Yeah, that becomes a thing. If anybody
he was wearing that during the First Blood match, right?
Yes. If anybody watches, that match specifically.
Or go listen to our very first ever pod. It's that show, I believe, right?
Our very first one was King of the Ring 98. So
yeah, that was one. First Blood. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So in that case,
that is correct.
He wears a white elbow pad, and people are like, "Why?" Well, that's why, because he had a staph infection in his arm. So, but anyway,
I don't know how people even compete with that, even in pro wrestling. Isn't it highly contagious?
Maybe. I don't know. I know it's gross. You can get it. So some people get it from the mat. Like if the mat is gross, I've heard of that many times. But speaking of that event, by the way, Mankind is out right now due to injuries suffered in the Hell in a Cell match with The Undertaker. He didn't suffer. Yeah, I wonder why. He didn't suffer any broken bones, but he does have bruised ribs, and his mouth is a mess after.
Proof that God exists, by the way.
Right.
No broken bones, just missing tooth. That's it.
He's got bruised ribs, and his mouth is a mess after losing 3 of his teeth and will require dental surgery. He hasn't been able to eat solid foods since the match. He also suffered a concussion and a dislocated jaw. Good grief.
Of all that stuff, I bet the dislocated jaw was the worst.
Yeah, right. I heard that injury sucks because you got to have your mouth kind of wired up, and like this said, you can't eat solid food.
Forget that for a second. When they replace it back in, I'll bet you it hurts like a MF.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I wouldn't want it happening. That's all I know. That call, freaking Jim Ross said to this day, people walk up to him and be like, "As God is my witness, he's broken in half."
I don't understand that, but I never understood. As God is my witness, what's that mean?
God is his witness. Like
why is it as, not with?
I don't know. I don't know, man. God.
I'm not a grammar major or anything. I just doesn't sound right to me. But whatever.
I don't know, but that's right up there. For me. I mean, yeah, obviously that's his most famous call of all time. But for me, I like somebody had compiled. It's a compilation of him just going off on Triple H. It's the greatest thing ever.
Oh yeah, you sent me that.
Yeah, I freaking love.
You have no heart.
You have no heart. You have no soul. You burn in hell. God dang you! Just like every week, they're like Triple H. I like the meme where it's like Triple H, Breeze, Jim Ross. God dang you! Burn in hell, you son of a bitch!
Oh man,
you black-hearted bastard! God damn, dude. Good crap.
Did you break Jim Ross's arm at one point too?
Yeah, right. This might have been before that. Maybe that's why he broke his arm, because he's like, well, F you, man. You keep telling me to go to hell every week. Staying with the injuries here, Undertaker's ankle is still a wreck, and he probably needs surgery, but he doesn't want to get it. He had a similar injury a few years ago, floating bone chips, and said that
I'm going to say that's why he missed WrestleMania 10, right?
Probably. He had a laundry list of injuries around that time, so it could have been anything. But he did say that the pain from the surgery was actually worse than the pain from the injury, so he'd rather just work through it. Eesh.
You know what's crazy? He had that whatever it was his ankle in the Hell in a Cell match, which means he scaled that cage and did all that basically on 1 foot.
Yeah, well, they said that's why. They said that's why when you see him, like he drops back into the cage and he kind of like hobbles a little bit.
Yeah,
they said that's why, because his ankle was so effed up. Like, man. I don't know if I would have been wanting to climb the cell with a damn near broken ankle, but
never mind climbing it. Come back through it voluntarily.
Yeah, right. Dude's a trooper, man.
Man, right there.
Yeah, you don't say. Well, that's I think around the time you were talking about. It might have been a little after. I don't know, but he had like rib problems, and he was just like putting on a freaking Kevlar vest every damn night. Like, if I'm that bad off, I don't think I really want to be going out there wrestling, man.
That's what Tony Romo did, like every night for the Cowboys. Every time he got hit, it got worse and worse and worse.
God, that sucks.
Now he's got a cushy job where he sits in a booth. It's better than everybody, but yeah.
I was going to say, doing better work than he was for the Cowboys.
Yeah, right.
Like, now he's actually valuable.
I have him on my short list of greatest color guys of all time. He's amazing.
Hey, the best compliment I could say about him is when I see that he's announcing a game, I don't go, him.
Yeah, right.
More than I can say for a certain former wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals. But either way.
Colin's worthless.
Yeah. Triple H is missed some shows last week while he was out filming an episode of Pacific Blue. Kudos to anybody that remembers that show.
Throwback.
Right. WWF is also trying to get the USA Network to use Edge in one of its TV shows. I think they do. I think he was in a show, but I don't remember what the show was off the top of my head. So, yeah. I know The Undertaker was in Poltergeist, the series, which had nothing to do with the movies.
That makes no sense.
I know. It doesn't go with his character whatsoever. Horribly cast. Anyway.
His poor job.
WWF still has boxer Butterbean signed to a contract for one more match, and it's expected that he will team with Sable at SummerSlam against Mark Marrow and Jacqueline.
Well,
not quite. Or, well, I guess it sets up for this one, too. Incorrect.
It's actually going to be Edge, who we just mentioned.
Yeah, right. Oh, God, I forgot about that. Yeah. That one made no sense. I was like, why?
Bro! They're both blonde, bro.
Yeah, right. Bro, one's Canadian, one has big boobs. Perfect. Anyway, speaking of SummerSlam, it will be subtitled Highway to Hell, and they've already gotten the rights to the AC/DC song of the same name, and will use it in all the promotion. Well, I guess that sets
that was one of the greatest theme songs of all time, in my opinion, for a pay-per-view.
That is correct.
So yeah, that
also, that entranceway, I know Pritchard said there was reasons why he hated it, but I thought it was great. Coming through the gates of hell.
Right. Yeah, it was cool. I totally get why he hated it from a production standpoint, but setting up an MSG back in the day was weird, man.
Always a small little entranceway, right? They never took up any more seats than they had to.
Except for WrestleMania 20.
Yeah, that was weird.
That one they finally gave up, and they set it up for WrestleMania 20 the other way. And then...
Do you remember there was an episode of Raw where they had like old school way too, with no stage just coming out of the door like that?
Maybe? I can't remember off the top of my head. I do remember the Ring of Honor New Japan show that was in MSG. Didn't they set it up like the ramp going the normal way, not the short little entryway?
They did have a ramp, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, I mean, they gave up a few seats.
That was the night we got to sit on top of the famous tunnel, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, hey.
Which I still brag about to this day.
Yep. This one's a little weird, but...
Like, do you know who's coming out of this damn tunnel?
John Cena.
Hogan, Ali. Right, the list goes on, man.
Yep. This story's a little weird, but let's get into it. The DX parody of the Nation of Domination aired this past week on Raw.
And you cannot find it anywhere now on Peacock.
Yeah, no, not on Peacock. Yeah, I have my ways, but not like I'm jonesing to watch this again. But either way, the line about Mark Henry eating shit was actually a reference to something that happened a few years ago. When Henry first signed, a lot of people resented his big 10-year contract, and he had an attitude of not wanting to learn. So someone pulled a rib on him by putting a real turd in his sandwich, and Henry ended up taking a bite of it.
That's so gross.
How mature are you? Well, I got to poop in a sandwich. What? Why does your mind go to that?
Do we know who it was?
I don't think so. I think
he signed in 95, right? So maybe someone from the Click?
That'd be my first guess, but it really could be anybody. I remember...
Henry Godwin.
Maybe. So somebody from the Bone Street crew. I do remember X-Pac talking about Sable got pooped in her bag, and X-Pac said, I did it, but it was not my poop.
Good Lord.
Like, that makes it worse. He said, I'm not going to say who it was. It's like, oh, yeah, I don't want to name names now, because, that's important. But he said somebody crapped in a cup, and he ran it to the bag. Like, wow. So it's a... What is that where you pass the baton in the race? What is that? A relay race.
Relay.
A relay race of poop. Like, what? Why is this a thing, man? Oh, we don't like you. You're going to get crap in your bag. Like, no!
I did it, but it wasn't mine. There's an episode of 2.5 Men where Jake did something like that. He goes, I can't believe you squirted that girl with the water gun. Yeah, but it wasn't my pee.
Oh, well then. Makes it better. That's effing gross, man. Dude,
but it worked out for Mark Henry. He gets paid a lot of money out to appear on a show that nobody watches and say, it's time for the main event.
God. That's his claim to fame right now. Just frickin' saying that. It
looks like there's been enough talk. It's time for the main event.
Oh, well then. So a lawsuit filed against WWF and against LOD member Hawk and Dennis Knight, formerly Phineas I. Godwin, a.k.a. Pig.
Of course, Pig.
Right. Over an incident at a house show a while back where they brawled into the crowd and 2 teenage girls were injured when the guardrail collapsed on them. We never hear anything about this, so let's just assume that it was settled out of court and the girls walked away with a lot of money.
Sorry, give me some more context to this. Were they fighting the crowd? Is that what you said? Or?
Yeah, I guess they were brawling in the crowd, and then I don't know if they fell into the guardrail or whatever, but isn't there like something on the ticket that basically says like you kind of assume you're, the risk?
I think so. Like, I'm not responsible, like stuff. Like right, Kane's Pyro once gave me like severe, like not burns, but like a sunburn kind of thing. I didn't go sue anybody.
I remember specifically because my dad used to go to all the. If anybody remembers, Cleveland never used to have an arena before the Gund Arena. It was in Richfield. It was the Richfield Coliseum. A lot of WWF shows happened there. Richfield is
the first ever Survivor Series, I want to say.
Yeah, right.
Or was it the Royal Rumble? I believe it was Survivor Series.
Yeah, I want to say it's Survivor Series, but I can't remember off the top. The Royal Rumble took place in Canada.
Okay, then it was a Survivor Series.
Yeah. So it was like it was kind of like when they go to the Palace of Auburn Hills. It's like, it's not in Detroit. It's like, outside. Like, that's what Richmond was.
And a lot of people don't realize that the Pontiac Silverdome, the name of the city's in the damn name of the building, but
right, yeah.
Not Detroit.
Not Detroit, yeah.
That would have been on my damn bucket list for SummerSlam, by the way, if it was still there. We can go see the Amazon Center. That is it now, but
yeah. But my dad said when he used to go to those shows back in the day, he said printed on the ticket was like, something along the lines of like, if you legally cannot put your hands on the wrestlers, but if they put their hands on you, like you kind of assume the risk or something like that. So I don't know. Apparently it wasn't that airtight.
There's always some fine print everywhere.
Yep. We're getting into the Japanese side of things here.
I just like how it's Hawk and Phineas.
Yeah, freaking
I don't think I
random.
would have guessed those two, but
right. But going to Japan for a story here. Stan Hansen, arguably the most popular foreign star to ever work in Japan, hasn't been booked on the last 2 All Japan Pro Wrestling tours. Hansen turns 49 next month, and despite being one of their top stars since the late 1970s, it's clear that the company has been phasing him out. Reportedly, Hansen tried to negotiate with New Japan Pro Wrestling a while back, but they weren't interested because of his age and because they didn't really think that he'd be a good fit for New Japan. Giant Baba learned of the negotiations and basically hasn't booked Hansen on an All Japan tour ever since. Hansen does end up returning about a month later and then stays with All Japan until retiring in 2000.
Rumor has it, like, when he didn't get signed, he started telling everybody to have tiny wangers.
Well, he is in Japan, so...
I didn't say it. Mine was just a line from a movie. You went all there with it. But
come on, everybody. It's a joke, people. Like, don't at me. Send your letters in purple crayon. I'll find them. Anyway.
Well, actually...
in Memphis Power Pro, real name...
MPP.
They held a big outdoors show in Memphis and brought in Giant Silva from the WWF and tried to crown him.
God, Jerry Lawler. Okay.
Well, they tried to hold on to that one. They tried to crown him as the new king, which of course led to Jerry Lawler showing up to defend his crown.
God.
Yeah.
That was probably ass.
Yeah, probably. When I think King of Memphis, Giant Silva cracks the top 100.
Cracks my top 2. What are we talking about? All 3. Because Jerry Lawler, Elvis, and then him.
Well, exactly. But it also led to Lawler's girlfriend, Stacy Carter, running out, and of course, she's wearing a short skirt and took a few bumps to make sure that everyone got to see everything.
You are doing very well, Jerry. You have learned quite well. That's how you do it in ECW.
Make sure you pull the skirt up and show everyone. Freaking God, man. Like, really? That's literally all she was good for.
I didn't complain.
Yeah, right. But anyway, Sid Vicious no-showed another indie booking.
No!
I was shocked, too. I mean, this is softball season, so you kind of get what you ask for. I personally don't feel sorry for them. Like I said, it's softball season. They know what he's about. So,
at some point, it's not entirely his fault.
Right, yeah. It's like, dude, come on. That's like you said. It's like when you give a monkey a shotgun or a machine gun and he starts killing people. You blame the monkey?
Blame the monkey?
Yeah. Oh, man. Like when you put a bunch of chimpanzees in a room with typewriters, and then you get the series finale of Lost. Is it their fault that it sucked?
Never watched that show, but man, I've heard nothing but crap about that ending.
Yeah, because like they booked themselves, well, to use a wrestling term, they booked themselves into a corner, and then they're like, God dang, we got to wrap this thing up. You know what? Spoiler for a show that ended like 20 years ago. It's like, you know what? They're all dead. This isn't real.
Rumor has it they called an M. Night Shyamalan for that ending. I can't confirm that though. But
yeah. The twist ending is it sucked.
I was going to ask you. I guess you kind of told me with that if they set it up for spinoffs for anybody, but
yeah. Well, I
assume that's a hard no.
Yeah, no. Last story I got here though. Sandman missed a few recent ECW shows because his wife went into premature labor a month early, giving birth to a baby boy named Austin.
Oh, man, that sucks.
Yeah.
Did the kid live?
I'm assuming it doesn't say that he didn't survive, so yeah. But I wonder if, this was a little bit, about a year before she was taking gores through tables. So
if that kid knew the daddy was coming out too early, he probably would have tried to stay in there forever.
He's like,
I'm going
you know what? Like, I'll cook a little bit longer. That's fine. He's like, you know what, son? I think it's time you had your first beer. He's like, I'm 5.
Yeah, I know. A few years late. That's on me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You know what? We'll save your first cigarette for next year. All right.
I've heard from many people that have met him. He's actually a really cool guy.
Yeah, depending on what stage of drunk he's in, sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, that takes us into our next break. On the other end of this, we're going to dive into the event at hand. Finally, I know this is what you've all been waiting for.
Yep.
But we'll be back diving into Bash at the Beach '98. Follow the Main Event Marks at facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector.
Hey gang, it's Commissioner Cooper of TSS Fantasy. We are the fantasy show of the people. Expert fantasy advice, free contests, leading expert medical and legal analysis, and most importantly, you. Interact with us on all social media platforms or check us out at tssfantasy.com. You can hear us on Spotify, Apple and Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and many more. Check out the fun today and be a part of the most interactive fantasy show around. TSS Fantasy, the fantasy show of the people.
Hello everyone, my name is Ryan McCarthy and I'm the host of the No Credentials Required podcast. Start your work week with the Monday Drop-In, where I talk about the sports beat in the Capital District, also known as the Mighty 518, as well as Metro New York sports from an upstate point of view. I also give a life lesson from a weekly sports story, so you might learn something from that. I also have a midweek podcast where I interview different sports personalities and talk about a wide array of topics. Take a listen and subscribe on your preferred podcast app, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Also check out our social media channels on Twitter and Instagram, BellyUpNCR, and Facebook.com/BellyUpSportsNCR. We're a part of the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network in association with Godzilla Media. No credentials required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports.
Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Find all of our links on our link tree at linktr.ee/Main Event Marks. And we're back. It's WCW NWO Bash at the Beach 1998. Took place July 12th, 1998. There are 2 taglines for this one. It's like skinny dipping in the Shark Tank and somebody's going down.
Right.
Those both suck.
You don't say. Like skinny dipping in the Shark Tank. Okay. This took place in the, ready for this? In the Cox Arena in San Diego, California. Gig.
Yeah. I believe it's still the only arena in San Diego. I believe they don't have anything else. They don't have Chargers anymore. They have nothing there.
Yeah, right. Dude, when you're so bad, you lose the Chargers. Like, damn.
Yeah, right.
Nobody gives a damn about San Diego. That sucks for them.
They are, what, Mexico's hat?
Good God. Basically. That's like all these people in, like, St. Louis complaining, oh, they stole our football team. It's like, nobody gives a damn about St. Louis. Shut the hell up.
Let me tell you something about St. Louis's football team. They went to L.A., they won the Super Bowl, and then you know how many people showed up to the parade? Like 100 people. That's no BS. Go look it on YouTube.
Yeah, nobody.
More people showed up to celebrate. More people showed up to celebrate the Bengals going to the Super Bowl than showed up to watch the Rams win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, about as many people showed up for that as they did for the last winners of the WNBA tournament.
Yeah, right.
So that should tell you something right there. Either way, the attendance for this one was 10,095 with a pay-per-view buy rate of 1.50, which amounted to 600,000 buys. So all in all, pretty good. So we opened the show with Pyro going off on that beach set. They always had like a beach set up on the stage for the show. I liked it. I wish they would still keep doing stuff like this, but
you know what I was playing last night, by the way? I was playing was it WCW Mayhem? I think that set's in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. I owned WCW Mayhem. I remember that one. It had Goldberg on the cover.
It's kind of a forgotten game. I'm not gonna say classic, but it was good.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible. I enjoyed it. Thought it was fun. But either way, we now go to Tony Schiavone, Mike Tenay, and Bobby Heenan, all wearing Hawaiian shirts. Good God. Like, they looked like, you know, the middle-aged dad that's like, I'm on my second honeymoon when they're on a cruise or whatever.
Every 90s sitcom ever when they went to Hawaii or something.
Yes. Oh, man. Just turn on an episode of Full House. There you go. But now we go to our first match of the evening. It is Saturn versus Raven with Lodi and Riggs in his corner. It is a Ravens rules match that goes 10 minutes, 40 seconds.
You ever notice that nobody ever explained what Ravens rules was?
That's true.
We were supposed to just accept the fact that it was new DQ. That's it. That's what it is.
That is correct.
Yeah, I know. I never thought about that until just now, but yeah, you're right. We get a jump start in the aisle as Saturn attacks Raven. The Flock clearly gets involved multiple times. The ref eats a flying boot to the face.
In the face! In the face!
Either way, he gets bumped. Saturn lays Raven on it. I'm going to try to paint a picture for everybody here because this is a little impressive, I must say. So there's a table outside of the ring. Saturn lays Raven on it. Then he stacks another table on top of him, and he jumps off the top rope as Canyon runs out and pulls Raven off the table. And then somehow Saturn dives between the tables and hits straight concrete.
Yeah.
I
thought he was dead.
Right, yeah. If this was like live, I would have been like, dude's dead. Like, check on him, man. Throw up the X. But Canyon then brings Raven in the ring, and he teases like he's with Raven right before hitting a flatliner on the open chair.
This is pre-Russo, by the way, so the swerve, I don't get it.
Yeah, right. Swerve,
this whole thing made no sense building up to it. Like Canyon was with them, then he wasn't with them, then he was with them. And he was never part of the Flock, but he was with Raven, if that makes any sense. But I never got it.
Did anything involving Canyon ever make sense?
No.
Looking back at his career, Mortis, this, anything he did with DDP, the Buff Bagwell stuff. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Let's just
getting crippled by throwing off a cage. God, the same arena Owen Hart was, died in. That was brilliant. So.
Yeah, right. But anyway, Riggs then tries to get involved again. Raven drops Saturn with an even flow and wins. Sure.
One of the best DDTs ever, by the way.
Oh, yeah. That's the one thing everybody compliments Raven on is the way he did it. I'd say it goes Jake the Snake, him, and then Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson's was like just a quick, he just like dropped straight down. And
yeah, for that reason, I might throw The Rock in there too, because he does the same thing like Arn Anderson.
Yeah, The Rock's was pretty cool. But either way, Uncle Dave gave this 2.25 stars. I give it an even 2. It was meh. What say you?
I gave it 2. It wasn't boring enough to be a 1. I'll give it that.
Right.
That's a backhanded compliment if I ever had one.
Yeah, it was something, man. I'll say.
It wasn't the worst match I've ever seen on this. I haven't seen on this card, but
oh yeah,
we'll get to that a little bit.
Faint praise.
And I don't want to crap on the deceased, by the way, but we'll get to it.
Oh man, yeah. Well,
I think you know which one I'm talking about. I think you might agree with me.
Probably. But Mean Gene Okerlund calls Eddie Guerrero out onto the stage for an interview. Gene says that Eddie
to an unusual pop, mind you. He's like he's a huge heel this time.
Yep. And he comes out and like flips a double bird to the crowd. Like,
yep.
What the hell?
I don't need your cheers, Vato.
But Gene says that Eddie forcing Chavo to face Stevie Ray before their hair versus hair match is an unfair advantage. Eddie says that Chavo is loco, and he's going to shave his head tonight and send him running back to mama. Isn't that kind of uncle abuse?
We're back to mama. Wouldn't that be his aunt?
Yeah, right. It'd be Eddie's sister-in-law.
Sister-in-law. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But then
I always think of them as cousins. I always forget that's his nephew, right?
Yeah, it's weird because there's not much of an age difference between them.
So, yeah. Like I said the same thing with Matt Bentley and Shawn Michaels. Like, they're cousins, really? That's not his nephew? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, are they? Oh, I thought it was his nephew.
Pretty sure it's cousin.
Yeah, you might be right. But then we go to this. Speaking of the Ravens flock, it is Kidman with Lodi in his corner. Because
he's got the whole 7-year itch going, by the way.
Yep. If you want anybody backing you up, it's got to be Lodi.
Oh, looks like a hardcore meth head, and then he would end up marrying Tori Wilson.
Yeah, right. Man, you look like you showed up at a Nirvana concert, and people were like, "Whoa, man, calm down."
Right. So serious. I hate my dad issues.
Yeah, it's like I just feel the teenage angst coming off of you. But anyway,
I am. I hate my father.
But Kidman is taking on Juventud Guerrera. This goes just shy of 10 minutes. In the end, Hoovy knocks Kidman down in the corner and hits the 450 splash for Le win. Uncle Dave gave this 4 stars. I give it 3. What say you?
I gave it 3 as well. Dude, do I got to bring this back up? Wasn't there a show we covered where he said Juventud was the best wrestler in the world at this point?
Yeah. It was either
there you go.
the next year.
There you go.
4 effing stars. Like, they did a good job, but again, calm down.
Oh, Kidman did a good job.
I like Hoovy. I thought Hoovy did well. Yeah, I don't know. I always thought Hoovy was pretty good, but I don't know. Apparently he was careless as F, but which, I mean, I didn't know that as a kid. Like, looking back, it's like, yeah, I could see that. But we now see video footage of Conan on WCWWrestling.com being interviewed by Lee Marshall. I'm sure that interview was
right.
So, by the way, WCWWrestling.com, isn't that like saying ATM machine?
Yep. That's funny. And Across the Spider-Verse, that becomes a thing. The ATM machine.
Yeah.
Which, if you haven't seen it, get your ass to the theater and watch it.
I still haven't seen it. I want to. I might go to the drive-in actually and watch that. Hella old school. But anyway, up next we get Stevie Ray taking on Chavo Guerrero Jr. This goes a minute and a half. Chavo comes out with a floaty around his waist and shooting a water gun into the crowd.
Yeah, stupid.
Oh yeah, because the hobby horse was an upgrade. But Chavo grabs a mic and dedicates this match to his favorite wrestler, Eddie Guerrero.
You know, I sense some sarcasm in that.
Right? Chavo shakes Stevie's hand, pretends like it's being squeezed, and then instantly submits.
Effing Ray.
He instantly submits to end the match. So, kind of outsmarted Eddie there. Eddie is furious and storms into the ring after yelling at Stevie Ray. By the way, I didn't rate this. I assume you didn't either because it wasn't a real match.
I just dropped a 1 on it. But
yeah, Uncle Dave and I didn't rate this, so there you go. But up next, it is Chavo Guerrero Jr. taking on Eddie Guerrero in a hair versus hair match. This goes about 12 minutes. So
this whole thing makes no sense. I mean, I always feel like a hair versus hair match. Usually, at least one of the guys is like a big hair guy.
I mean, look at that effing mullet on Eddie, man. So I mean, this is kind of the caliber of like Edge versus Kurt Angle and hair versus hair. Like, it only really matters to one of them. The other guy is like got a buzz cut, so it's like, who cares? But either way,
I mean, I'm just assuming, not to spoil it, but I'm just assuming Chavo got sick of the balding.
Yeah, right. Well, that's what the Bosleys was 4 years later. But first line I have here: Chavo bites Eddie's ass multiple times, which is quite weird.
Yep.
Like, why? Because F you.
Sure, Uncle Eddie, I want to bite your ass. That doesn't sound weird.
Yeah. Nephew bites uncle's ass. Just sounds like something weird you'd find on the internet.
Let me pull out a cornetism here. I wish we had a soundbite for this. Who's the fucking heel? Who am I cheering for here?
I'm gonna assume Eddie's the big nasty heel here, but like, you're biting his ass, man.
If you didn't know any better, you watched this, would you think he was the heel? Like hearing that reaction?
I don't know, man.
And the way this ends, again, not to jump to the end, but doesn't seem like the cocky heel's like, screw it, whatever.
Pretty much. Yeah, because...
So, I mean, like, who am I cheering for? This is a mess from Jump Street.
Chavo ends up grabbing the scissors at one point and gets distracted, so Eddie rolls him up and pins him to win. Yeah. Uncle Dave gave this 3 1/4 stars. I gave it an even 3. What say you?
I gave it 3. I really liked it.
It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. But Eddie sets a chair up in the middle of the ring now and demands that Chavo sit down and be shaved. Chavo takes the clippers from Eddie and shaves his own head. Eddie runs away, weirded out by all of this.
He's just going nuts, man.
Yeah. And then...
And to my knowledge, they never really follow up on why he snapped.
No, he's just a nutcase. So we go back to commentary for a while here before finally going to the next match. It is Disco Inferno with Alex Wright taking on Conan with Kevin Nash and Lex Luger. This match goes 2 minutes, 16 seconds because...
way too long.
You, that's why. I was like, really? Like, what the hell, man? Not that I was jonesing for this.
You wanted more disco?
Hey, I don't dislike disco, so I don't know. I was just like, okay, why? We'll get into what actually happened.
Dude.
But
Nash and disco is like oil and water, dude. I like them both.
Yeah.
No.
Well, Alex Wright comes out, grabs the mic before the match, and says something in German. So,
you stupid Americans.
I was gonna say it was probably something naughty, but we're not gonna get into that. Disco then takes some.
On our date later.
Disco Inferno.
And then when I
takes
wake
the mic.
up, I'll tell you what she said.
Disco Inferno then takes the mic and mocks Conan's opening spiel. I love how this match right here justified an appearance by Kevin Nash and Lex Luger. Like, why did you guys have to come out for this?
Remember that Starrcade where Macho Man was with the B team all night? You kept getting pissed.
Yeah, I was like, but it makes no sense. It makes Macho Man look like shit. But Nash and Conan talk for a bit on the mic. All of this, by the way, was longer than the match itself. Luger randomly locks Wright in the torture rack outside of the mat or outside of the ring. And then Jack.
I don't know why I was laughing at that so hard.
It was like he's just like dancing, minding his own damn business, and then Luger comes up and torture racks him. Like, what an asshole. Then Nash comes in the ring and jackknifes Disco behind the ref's back because, it's got to be 3-on-1 here.
To beat Disco.
Right. Then Conan locks Disco in the Tequila Sunrise for the win.
Oh, man.
And then Disco would be putting Conan over for the rest of his life. But Uncle Dave...
The day of recording this pod.
Uncle Dave gave this a 1/4 star. I gave it a 1/2 star. What say you?
I gave it 1.
Sucked,
but entertaining.
The mic stuff was, but I was like, why? Why did any of this happen?
It took 3 men to beat Disco Inferno.
Yeah, well, you had to have
Lex Luger and Nash.
I was going to say you had to have 3 guys because one of them had to watch out for Alex Wright, man, because he was a big threat on the outside of the ring doing his little weird ass dance. But even though this match sucked and this whole segment was like whatever, the Wolfpack was incredibly over, and this crowd was hot as hell for him. So
I might argue their song was over as hell too.
Oh yeah, as soon as you heard that wolf howl, everybody was like, "Hell yeah!" Dude, there's this black dude in the front row just like having the time of his life, man. His body is ready for the wolf pack, man.
I don't think it's funny. They've always been accurately accused of milking the NWO dry. Do you realize they didn't really do much of the Wolfpack if you really think about it?
Yeah,
they did not go as far with them as they could have.
Yeah, I feel
the
like
moment that group gets the title, they become the NWO elite.
Right. Yeah, like as a kid, I didn't think about this, but it's like looking back at these shows, I'm like, the Wolfpack was just kind of there to F around. Like,
yeah,
they didn't really do anything. They were just like, yeah, we're the NWO, kinda, but we're also
cool.
like, yeah, like you all love us, right? Yeah, right. I don't know, but either way, up next it is the Giant taking on Kevin Green.
Remember when I was talking about the worst match of the night?
It was.
I'm not counting that last one because that wasn't really a match. Like you said, they were goofing around, but
right.
This one was an actual match.
This one was about 7 minutes. You know what? This was like played up on TV, like a big thing, and then you get to the show and it's like, oh yeah, we got this match to get through. Really? But
and until you said it earlier, when we started recording, I didn't realize there were 3 athletes on this show that weren't wrestlers.
That is correct.
There we go. But I will say this was better than I thought it would be, because I thought it was just going to be straight ass. But in the end, Giant hits the choke slam for the win.
They say you should always stick with your initial instinct, because it's usually the correct one.
Uncle Dave gave it a 1.25 stars. I actually gave it 2. I graded it on a curve because, again,
clearly
Green is not a wrestler. What'd you give it?
1.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Kevin Green reminds me of like another version of Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I just don't dig that.
Lee Marshall is interviewing Curt Hennig about Goldberg for WCWWrestling.com. We now get a recap.
Wrestling.com.
Yep. We now get a recap of Dean Malenko losing his cool on Chris Jericho back on Nitro, and thus losing his Cruiserweight title match tonight. Chris Jericho now comes out wearing a freaking top hat, carrying a cane, and says he's going to do a little soft shoe routine for the crowd. Oh, joy. However, he's interrupted by JoJo Dillon. Dillon says that he misjudged Jericho initially, and he knows that the crowd wants to see Jericho defend his title. He says he found someone willing to take the match on short notice, and the guy is a local talent that hasn't wrestled in over 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not wrong.
No, he's not.
Jericho asks for this to remain a no disqualification match, and Dillon agrees. Rey Mysterio's music hits now, and the pop is non-existent. I'm like, wow. Then San Diego, he's making his big return. Nobody gave a damn.
Well, he didn't pimp San Diego hard back then, as of where he was from. I think it was more like he's the guy from Mexico.
Yeah, but even then, it's like, really? Nobody gave a damn about Rey Mysterio? Kind of sad. He just kind of comes out in the crowd, just like, I just
find it funny. He was from San Diego, but Eddie Guerrero from Texas got a bigger reaction.
Yeah, right. But this one is Chris Jericho defending the Cruiserweight title against Rey Mysterio Jr. in a no disqualification match. It goes 6 minutes. These two brawl all over, up on the stage, back down to the ring. Dean Malenko comes to the ring at one point to distract Jericho, allowing Rey to roll him up and win the Cruiserweight title. Uncle Dave gave this 2 3/4 stars. I gave it 2.5. It was average for these two. What say you?
I gave it 2. I was like, man, we've seen way better.
Yeah, I was very underwhelmed with this. It just, it was okay. But anyway, Chris Jericho runs off to the back, being chased by Dean Malenko. Jericho accidentally runs into Arn Anderson and is held up. So this allows Dean Malenko to catch up with him and beat Jericho down. Oh, man. This was fun. I don't know what the conclusion of this feud was, by the way. I don't remember. But up next, it is Booker T defending the World Television title against Bret Hart in 8.5 minutes. I know what you're all thinking. How could this be bad? Well... So, I will say this right away.
I mean, it's not going to be good when there's no build-up or... It
doesn't even have to have build-up. Put these two into a cold match. It should be great. But,
well, they threw them in a cold match, all right.
Yes, that's for sure. But it's weird to see Bret Hart come out to the NWO theme. Just...
he just looks so out of place.
Right. This will never not be awkward for me. It's like, really? Like,
remember, at this point, he's still never worn an NWO shirt.
Yeah. And after he's made it known that he hates Hulk Hogan and all this other stuff, and then it's like he's joining up with him. Okay. But either way, Booker starts to dominate towards the end of this one, and Bret just hauls off and hits him with a chair, getting disqualified. What a waste. Uncle Dave gave this 2 3/4 stars. I gave it 2. I thought it sucked. Let's say you.
I gave it 1 because I thought it was horrible. When was the last time you ever gave less than 2 stars to either one of these guys' matches, let alone together?
I know. Like I said, I don't even care that it's just a cold match. It's like it's Booker T and Bret Hart in a title match, and it sucked
on pay-per-view.
Yeah, like that has all the makings of a classic. I mean, the booking sucked, but even then, it's like these two should be able to overcome that.
Bro,
I don't get it.
I wasn't even there, bro.
I will say this. I love Booker T, but sometimes it really came down to if he had the right dance partner or not. And the right dance partner didn't necessarily have to be really good. It just, like, you and I talked about his matches with The Undertaker, just never seemed to click. So,
now in the archives, Judgment Day 04.
Yeah. But after the match, Bret Hart takes a chair to Booker T's legs and then locks in the figure 4 around the ring post. Stevie Ray casually walks down and just stares at Bret Hart, getting him to walk away.
Stevie effing Ray.
Yeah, and if there's somebody you don't fuck with, it's Stevie Ray.
No, that guy's watching the audience right now.
Man. Well, either way, Stevie checks on Booker and helps him to the back. To the back!
To the back!
Isn't Stevie in the NWO at this point?
I don't know if he's in it right now, but it's certainly coming because he's going to be in the War Games with them. So,
yeah, so I think he is. So maybe that's why he didn't rush down and start beating up Bret. He just kind of gave him a glare and was like, "Hey, back up." But I don't know. We now get a video recap of Goldberg winning the WCW World Title on Nitro, just to remind everybody going into this title match and all.
Title match in the middle of the card, by the way, in a really cold spot.
Yeah, this is what would be known as the let 'em up match. But nope. We get this. It is Goldberg defending the WCW World Heavyweight title against Curt Hennig in 3 minutes and 50 seconds. God dang. Goldberg is already bleeding from headbutting a damn door backstage, I assume. Go figure. Goldberg makes short work of Hennig, letting us know that Hennig is in no way a world title contender, and this match should have been on Nitro.
Oh, man.
Uncle Dave gave this a star. I gave it a 1.5 stars. Let's see you.
Yeah, I gave it a star. Now you get some context to what Ole Anderson meant. He lost to this guy on TV. What good do you mean now? Now you get some context to that, huh?
Yeah,
suddenly, all of a sudden, you start seeing it.
My thing, I get, well, he just won the world title and he's at the top of the company. He's the most over. You got to keep him strong. I get that. Man, you just buried Curt Hennig, man. Who could possibly give a damn about Curt Hennig after this? I guess maybe they just given up on him at this point. It's like, yeah, we're going to use you to put people over and, whatever. That's kind of your spot now.
Gatekeeper.
Yep. He's in the Dolph Ziggler spot.
Literally.
Yeah, or maybe Dolph Ziggler's in the Curt Hennig spot. I don't know. One of them. Either way. So let's take our second to last break. When we come back, main event time. No, the world title match was not main event. We got one more right after this. Follow the Main Event Marks at facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector.
What's up, everybody? I am the hardest part of the ring, the host of the Apron Bump podcast. Ugh. Another wrestling podcast. How many times can I listen to fans tell me who needs a push, who doesn't need a push, who brings Vince's coffee these days? Enough! The Apron Bump is about the journey. It's about nostalgia. It's about discovering new forms of wrestling to really tickle your pickle as a wrestling fan. The podcast brings you reviews of wrestling events all over the world, whether it's WWF, WWE, WCW, ECW. We even cover the golden eras of Ring of Honor, Progress, TNA, and more promotions in the future as well. New episodes every Wednesday. Bump Day, yeah? Go to apronbump.com or go to your favorite podcast platform or YouTube and subscribe today for the most diverse, fan-friendly wrestling podcast in the world. I'm Hard.
Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Find all of our links on our link tree at linktr.ee/Main Event Marks. And we're back.
Unfortunately.
They really got their money out of Michael Buffer tonight because they're having him announce the last 2 matches instead of just the main event.
You know, I was wondering, do you think they pay him per match? Because he always did just the main events. Or is it like per appearance to do all this?
I feel like it's like they just pay him per appearance, but I don't know how that works. Michael Buffer apparently cost an arm and a damn leg, so whatever. But
according to many people, he's not as good as Bruce.
I'd agree with that. I mean, have
I'm on the fence. But
go. You said you're on the fence?
Yeah, but I do love Bruce Buffer. I think he brings a certain energy to fights.
I feel like Bruce knows what he's talking about. Michael will just be like, give me the piece of paper and I'll say it.
Well, at Royal Rumble night 2008, when he introduced Shawn Michaels as HBK, the Heartbreak Kid, that's all he called him. Like, clearly, he's just not knowledgeable of stuff.
Yeah, it's just a payday.
Like, he can call him Shawn Michaels. That really, to this day, I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I always thought, I was like, he just doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Like, if you honestly sit and listen to some of the announcements he made for, like, in WCW, some of them were just like, dude, what the hell are you even saying, man? I will never get over, and like we said, we got to put this one on the docket for, I swear it was the finger poke of doom. When he's announcing Kevin Nash, he's like, he hails from Detroit, Michigan, but his accolades make him a citizen of the world. Like, what? Like, what?
Wouldn't that mean like Mother Teresa or something, doing great stuff for everybody?
No, dude, winning the world title.
Okay.
Yeah.
That just, it makes no sense. I mean, like, if you call Mother Teresa a citizen of the world, that plays. And no disrespect, because I love Nash, but no.
Yeah, I don't freaking get it. Just like, okay. This match is Hollywood Hogan and Dennis Rodman with the Disciple, because of course he's there, taking on DDP and Karl Malone. This goes 23 minutes, 47 seconds. Yep, Rodzilla versus the Mailman. In the end, Hogan ate a diamond cutter from DDP, and Rodman ate one from Malone. Malone tries pinning Rodman, and the ref is distracted, telling him that they're not the legal men. This allows the Disciple to hit the Apocalypse on DDP, allowing
Which
Hogan...
he totally stole from Disco Inferno, by the way. That's the chart breaker.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, Disco did say, management came to him and said, hey, as Leslie's going to start doing that move, you got to pick a new one. He's like, this is my move. I've been doing it for a while. And they're like, yeah, well, not anymore.
Yeah. Well, hey, can we get this in for once? Like, so the Disciple comes in and does the Apocalypse.
So we remind everybody that the big star is on the other channel.
Yeah, right. It's not like Disco Inferno doing it is like, whatever. It's like, this is a guy in the main event. Like, they're trying to make it seem like he matters. And then that. Okay. And for anybody who's been watching for a long time, that's an actual WCW fan, they're like, why is this guy in the main event doing the mid-Carter's move?
You might not You might not believe when I tell you this, but I was not until like 16, 17 years old when I learned that was actually Brutus TF Beefcake.
I love that.
He looks so different.
I know, dude. I'm in the same boat with you. I'm right there. As a kid, I had no idea. I found out later that was Brutus Beefcake. And I'm like, wait, what?
Even Little Nitro when Piper says it, and I guess I just missed it completely.
Yeah, I mean, in our defense, he's got a big beard, which he'd never had before. He had a somewhat different hairstyle. He had a big bandana and always wore sunglasses. So
and tan too.
Yeah, right.
Dark tan. And I've never heard this, but I'm not alleging anything, but he was a lot physically bigger as this disciple too.
He was very in shape here.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he was never like really out of shape, but yeah, he was very like toned here. So I don't say he was bulkier. I think he was more toned.
Definitely.
He looked about the same size.
Well, bulkier from what I mean was like bigger than, say, the Booty Man or what was that idiot's name in the Legend of Doom? The Zodiac.
The Zodiac, yeah. Right.
Who I have a Mattel figure of.
Oh, hell yeah. Anyway, his move was the Stunner, if anybody doesn't remember. It was called the Apocalypse. Sure. But either way, he comes in the ring behind the ref's back, hits the Apocalypse on DDP, and allows Hogan to effing pin him to get the win. Why? Because you, that's why. The ending of this absolutely effing sucked, but it was overall better than I expected. Uncle Dave gave it -1.5 stars. -1.25 stars. I gave it 2 stars. For 2 basketball players being in it, it could have been worse. What say you?
I gave it 2, and my only note for that was, and DDP and Hogan were trying then.
Oh man, right? Karl Malone could do a body slam, so and the diamond cutter. So there's that.
In watching this, I just felt like Malone wanted to be there more than Rodman did. Did you get that feeling?
Yeah, I feel like Rodman was like, "Hey, it's a paycheck," and normally he was there like having fun.
Rodman was going like the check already cleared. Malone was going as if he didn't go, the check wouldn't clear. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, right. Well, after the match, Karl Malone drops the disciple with a diamond cutter. He had to eat one, man. But when the referee...
That's why he got his moment in the sun, so he could eat the move from the basketball player.
Yep.
I haven't think about that just now.
Well, then when the referee tries telling him off, Malone hits a diamond cutter on the ref as well, who, by the way, was Little Nate.
Because who else would have the guts to take it, right?
Yeah, right. The NWO comes out now and leaves with Hogan and Rodman while they're trash-talking the camera. DDP and Karl Malone then exit through the crowd. And that, mercifully, brings us to the end of this show.
In case you're wondering, the Nitro before this was better than the actual pay-per-view.
Yeah, right. That's pretty sad. We're going to take our final break here. On the other end of this, it's final ratings time and what's coming up next month on the podcast. Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. My name is Thomas, and what's your name?
I'm Alan. Oh, yeah. We're brothers.
That's right.
Yeah. Same mother and father.
Your room was...
we shared the room.
Shared a room?
We shared the room.
Thought I knew your face.
Yeah, we go way back, mate. Yeah.
We should do a podcast then.
We have.
We do a podcast?
We do a podcast.
What's it called?
The Broadcast. Yeah, that was planned.
Yeah, well.
What do we do?
Well, we cover all different things in the world of pop culture. We're talking about comic books, we're talking about professional wrestling, and we're talking about movies. Go back and watch classic retro wrestling events, the likes of WWE, WCW, and if you do like that, you can check us out on Apple iTunes, also on Podbean, Anchor, and on Podknife. Also check us out on Twitter at The Broadcast. That's BROKAST. I nearly stuffed up the ending.
No, it's all right. Good on you.
Yeah. Instagram also at The Broadcast Podcast.
Remember, we don't spell it with a C. We spell it with a K.
Sorry, mate.
Take it easy.
The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Find all of our links on our link tree at linktr.ee/main event marks. And we're back.
We're back.
Final ratings time here. Internet Movie Database gives this 5.9 out of 10. CageMatch.net gives it 5.08 out of 10. I give it 6.5 out of 10. Maybe D, somewhere in there. What say you?
I gave this an F. It sucked.
This was a lame show, dude. I can't believe just, wow.
I remember vividly, like, all the hype going into this damn show. And this is going to be the biggest wrestling show. This is their WrestleMania 3. That's the way they were kind of presenting it.
Yeah. You look at this card, it doesn't look all that great on paper. I realize the main event was like, superstars or whatever, but good grief, man. That even your world title match was just a what the hell ever. It was clearly there just to give Goldberg a match. I don't know, man. That effing sucks. But that's how we wrap up July. You're welcome, America. But
because you.
Exactly. Apparently.
This is what you get for a high gas price and high food price. You get this garbage.
Exactly. Well, next month will be a lot better, and I'm not saying that sarcastically. I really do mean that.
Having watched most of the shows, I can tell you he's not lying.
Yeah, August is looking pretty good. The first show of the month is a little divisive, but Greg said it's really not all that bad. I still got to watch it to gauge for myself here. But August 2nd, we're starting off with our first SummerSlam of the month. It's WWF SummerSlam 1994. That's Undertaker versus Undertaker and the famous cage match between Bret and Owen Hart. Good stuff there. August 9th. August 9th is ROH Death Before Dishonor 2008. I forget what number that is off the top of my head here. Is 6. Yes.
Yeah. That is correct.
If nobody knows, that's one of the bigger shows of the year for Ring of Honor. So figured we'd dive into that here.
Also, by the way, if it is coming this year in 2023, they have not said a single word about it yet, and we are getting to the point where they should have been promoting it already.
Yeah, right. They need to get on that crap.
In that regard, I actually hope it's not coming because that's less embarrassing.
Yeah, right. Put it off a year or something like that. But the main event of this one is a huge 4-way elimination match for the Ring of Honor World Title. It's Nigel McGuinness defending against Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, and Tyler Black, better known today as Seth freaking Rollins.
Where are all these losers at now, huh?
So that's a pretty big damn show right there.
That's one match.
Oh, yeah. It's got a whole card of some, well, can't say it's all good stuff looking at the card, but I'm going to assume
a lot of good stuff.
Right. We're hitting our second SummerSlam on August 16th. It's WWF SummerSlam 2000. 2000 was a pretty hot year for the WWF. So looking forward to watching that one.
The ladder match on or TLC. It's a great one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the TLC's on there. You got Rock, Angle, Triple H in the main event for the WWF title. It's good stuff. On August 23rd, that is double main event week. It is the first show of the week. It's going to be Ring of Honor's Death Before Dishonor 15. They bring in some New Japan talent for that one. The main event, Cody Rhodes defends the ROH title against Minoru Suzuki. And we get 2 matches involving the Young Bucks, which I'm sure you're just ecstatic about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and here's the match. This is clearly going to be match of the night, man. The winners receive... The opening match is winners receive an ROH World 6-Man Tag Team title shot later in the night. It's Bully Ray and the Briscoes taking on The Kingdom, which is Matt Taven, TK O'Ryan, and Vinny Marseglia.
Who the hell are those guys?
They're the guys follow around Matt Taven. God.
Hey, you want to know how to get to Matt Taven's house?
Oh, Lord. I know it starts something with a back alley.
You go down an alley, right, and then you go up a little hill. There's a bunch of houses there. There's one with a bush in front of it. That's Matt Taven's house.
Oh, man. Like I said, that's double main event week. We're coming at you after that with, I think this might be our first NXT show we've reviewed. It is NXT.
Didn't we do the one you and I went to?
We've been to a couple of them. I don't think we've ever done one.
Oh, SummerSlam. I thought we did that one.
Yeah, we did SummerSlam. We haven't done. Yeah, looking at my notes, we've never done an NXT show, so this will be a first for us. Wanted to squeeze one in. It's NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4. That was right before SummerSlam 2018.
I was
Barclays
there.
Center. Yep. The main event was Tommaso Ciampa defending the NXT title against Johnny Gargano in a last man standing match. Shayna Baszler defends the NXT women's title against Kairi Sane. Adam Cole defends the North American title against Ricochet. Good stuff on this this show right here. Also, Undisputed Era defends the tag titles against Mustache Mountain. We got Velveteen Dream and EC3 taking each other on. So
she's over 18, right?
Oh my God. Maybe not.
Allegedly.
The main event of the month, actually, on August 30th, we're hitting you with WWE SummerSlam 2014. The biggest thing I remember about that one, besides Stephanie McMahon and Brie Bella's, match, if you want to call it that, is John Cena.
Loose with the words, huh?
Yeah. John Cena got himself effed up by Brock Lesnar. You want to talk about being taken to Suplex City? There you go, man.
Suplex City's even born yet. Wait, was it? I thought it was 13. Was it 13? No, 15. Yeah, it's not even born yet.
WrestleMania 31? Was it 31?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was
2015.
Was that 20? Oh,
that was here. Yeah, it was right by me.
Well, there you go. This was the first instance of it, I guess. But either way, there you go. That is what to expect for August. It's going to be a hot month, everybody. I'm looking forward to it.
God, I hope
you are too. Yeah, well, not heat-wise, so yeah. But thank you for joining me today, Greg.
Yeah, sure.
And we'll see you all next week as we bring you SummerSlam 1994.